And we are live on another edition of All In on High School Sports, All In Game Day tonight, but not at Becton, Jen.
No, unfortunately, the weather prevented us from being live on location, but we had the opportunity to catch up with Coach Marr, some of the Becton players, some of the Glen Rock players, and we wanted to make sure that we did our pregame despite the conditions and us. So we're live, but from our usual little podcasting center
Yeah,
in our
we're
home.
at the podcasting center, but hey, it's better than nothing. We will make it up to Becton. We have told Coach Marr if they have another home game, we will
Yeah,
definitely
definitely.
be
Yep.
there. So that's guaranteed him that. But listen, we still got our breakdown. We're still going to preview this game tonight. It's just that we're
In a different spot.
doing a
That's
little
all.
different spot live from Clifton.
Right.
So other than that, we'll be ready to go.
It's like I said, we wanted to still recognize this game and these two teams, who are preparing hard for it all week. But there's nothing like Lyndhurst last week being there, with
Yeah.
two former coaches and game day, I feel like is something you and I always talk about that we miss. I miss my having my team pregame, that final speech before we take the field, and just that energy of game day that you prepare for a big game, especially. So,
Exactly.
again,
I was going to
not
just
to
say,
harp on the fact that we're not there, but last
Yeah.
week we wish we could be, but the weather doesn't jive with the technical equipment.
But again, listen, there's lots to talk about, lots to break down. A big game for both Glen Rock and Becton.
Mhm.
NJIC battle. I know we're going to talk about some other NJIC games tonight. So you want to just start off with a little slate? What's going on this week before we get into this game?
Sure, some other big games that are going on.
Sure.
Is that what you mean? Well, over the weekend, as some things have been changed. We were trying to keep up with the changes via all the different, all the different high school Twitter feeds, and some of the stuff that's being posted elsewhere. But so some of these games may have changed, so I don't want to misquote anything. But we'll go with what was like the original slate
Okay.
of games, right? So tonight was this one I think we do know got moved though. Ramapo and Northern Highlands. Did that one get moved?
No, that's still on.
That's on.
That's still
Actually
on.
should be starting at 6:15.
Oh yeah,
right?
we'll be streaming that
Yeah.
tonight. I will tell you that.
That's one of the big ones. Tomorrow we had Coach Campanelli of DePaul Catholic High School on the show. He plays his brother at Bergen Catholic in the number 1 versus number. I don't know if it gets any bigger than that.
1 versus
in regular
3 season.
season.
Nope.
1 versus 3, excuse me. I think I said 2. Another big parochial or non-public, I should say, matchup. Primus Catholic, who's on the rise against Del Barton. We've also got, I don't want to forget. Oh, how can I forget Lyndhurst Rutherford?
Yeah.
Right? That's a biggie,
Yeah.
really biggie, who could be
game one of
right.
game one of 2.
Gotta see how things play out.
Jen, I'm just going to keep an eye on any breaking news. If any games, I'll let you know if anything does come up.
Sounds good. And then another game, battle of 2 undefeateds in Morris County, Roxbury and Mount Olive.
And
so
I just
that's
saw
a good
3
one.
minutes ago from a Luis Torres tweeting that the game is going on.
Oh,
so
all right,
that will
all
game
right.
be on.
I feel like we have this little break in the weather right now, and I just don't know if it's gonna last. Like that's what we couldn't risk, So
There's
yeah.
Mr. Mataloni. Hey there, hoops coach. We making a friendly wager on Ramapo Highlands game. I mean, you know what? Let's do lunch, Mr. Mataloni. But I mean, I'm going to be honest. We're live on air right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to root for Ramapo.
Yeah.
I just did it with my picks.
Well, we have to remind the audience that it's funny because I was thinking like, wait a minute, how are they going to do that? And I was like, oh, that's right, you picked Highlands.
I did. Yeah. I picked Highlands. But you know what?
Kind of under the gut. Not that you're rooting. Your heart is a little bit of Ramapo.
Of course, I'm
former coach there.
Of course, I'm rooting for Ramapo.
That's the little reminder. So I like it. So
well, let's do it. Let's do lunch. We'll do lunch.
There you go. There you go.
He said he sure did. Mr. Calderio and the high-flying Fairlawn Cutters. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Valenti. Fairlawn won 42-6 against Bergen Tech. Fairlawn 4-0.
That's great. Congrats.
Let's go.
Nice job. Keep up the good work. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing the update there. Perfect. Whatchamacallit? We were going to do a little breakdown of the NJIC in general, right?
Okay.
Because we know We both love how they do their conference,
Love
the
it.
a little mini playoff before the state playoffs, right? So out of the 4 divisions that will go to the NJEC playoffs, because they have 5 divisions, right? But the 4 divisions that will play into the playoffs, right?
Yep.
3 of the spots are solidified, right?
Yes.
We've got Rutherford, we've got Lyndhurst, and we've got Park Ridge from, and I don't want a Rutherford Colonial, Lyndhurst Liberty Division, and Park Ridge and the Patriot. It's that Meadowlands division.
Right. And again, it could be a 3-way tie. We were saying Heights might have the advantage. We read something out. It's a little confusing, but now it seems that Hawthorne has the advantage. If Hawthorne wins, they do go. It was about a point system. But again, listen, you got crazy weather this week. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Instead of a 3-way tie, it could be a head-to-head. And now 2-team tie. Now the head-to-head comes in. So we'll see what happens here. Suppose, it looks like Hawthorne has, the, what's the word I want to use, Jen? Controls their own destiny, but let's see how that goes out. It looks like it's going to be Park Ridge, Lyndhurst in semifinal number 1, Rutherford versus the winner of that division in number 2. So when we're talking about can Rutherford, Lyndhurst see each other again? Yeah, and if they do, that would be in the final. In big game tomorrow, though. Big game tomorrow.
Very interesting to see for sure. But do you want to get into tonight's
matchup? Yeah, let's get into tonight's game again. 3-1 Becton, 2-2 Glen Rock. Glen Rock started off 0-2, Jen.
Well, let me get their schedule up there exactly. So, as you're saying, started off 0-2 with losses to tough Waldwick and Rutherford teams. Bounced back to 2 back-to-back wins against Lodi and Garfield, which brings them here tonight at 2-2.
2-2. Jen, a little different Glen Rock team than in the past. Glen Rock in the past was one of the run and shoot, spread you out, throw it all over. Newer quarterback this year, came from a wide receiver, became the quarterback. Again, not an easy adjustment, doing a fine job, but again, it's not easy. A little more running the ball this year. They got a great running back. We're going to hear from Jack Hattersley in a little bit, but leader of the team. And again, they want to be more physical. They've been running the ball all year. So it's a little different Glen Rock than what we have exposed. Now, that doesn't mean tonight. And listen, it might help out tonight, right? Jen, you got bad weather, rainy weather. Yep. You're not going to be slinging it around 30, 40 times tonight. You have to be able to run the ball in this kind of weather. And Glen Rock, it seems like it's going to help them because that's kind of the offensive team they've been the first 4 games this year.
Well, we did have the opportunity, if you want to get that video ready to go, I had the opportunity to catch up with senior captains, Jake Rickett and Jack Hattersley, as Kurt mentioned before, leading their team in rushing yards. And they gave us a little breakdown of kind of how they've been preparing, a little bit about the Glen Rock tradition. And here's what they had to say. And we are joined by Glen Rock senior captains, Jack Hattersley and Jake Rickett. Hi, guys. Thanks so much for joining me.
Hi. Yeah, we're...
Jack, I'm going to start with you. You guys start 0-2, but you bounce back and win your next 2 games to even your record at 2-2. To what do you attribute this turnaround?
Definitely, the coaches definitely got on us pretty hard at practice after we came back from the game against Rutherford. We had a tough day in the weight room with a lot of tough workouts, had us pushing ourselves. We had a 10-minute wall sit. And then going out to the field, coach let us know right away that this week has to be different. And if it's not, we're going to have another tough week coming ahead. And we had to win this game. It was either a 0-3 or 1-2 mentality. And he really pushed us all to have that 1-2 mentality. And again in the next week to a 2-2 mentality. He's just pushing that win now mentality. Got to win every game that week. Focus on that week. Don't look too far ahead.
Nice. And my next question, Jake, is a 2-part question for you. The first part is, how would you describe the defensive mentality of Glen Rock? And secondly, what does your defense need to do to be successful against Becton?
Yeah, so I think that our defensive mentality overall is just to play really tough and for everyone to, do their job. I think that it really starts up front with our defensive line. I think that we're a really good unit. I think that we work really well together with our linebackers when it comes to blitzing or filling our gaps. And I think just as a unit, we've done very well at stopping the run and getting pressure on quarterbacks this year. So I think that our line and our linebacker units are doing very well together. And I think that overall our mentality, again, is just, to work hard and to do your job. And I think that overall so far this year, we've done a great job of that. And we need to continue with that against Becton this week.
Very nice. Jack, I'm going to come back to you on this one. You have a team leading 332 yards rushing so far this season. How important is it for you guys to establish your ground game against Becton?
Yeah, the ground game is huge for us, especially this year with a new quarterback coming in that's only a junior, Nick Abbey. He's done a great job, but it's just a new thing trying to run the offense coming from wide receiver last year. Definitely having that ground game relieves a lot of pressure off him, both me and Nick running the ball. And especially this week against Becton with the weather, it's going to be pouring, and the ground game is going to be huge for us because it's going to be tough to pass with the rain. So set the tone early.
And Jake, I'm going to come back to you for the last question. Glen Rock has a football program that is rich in tradition. Since your freshman year as part of the program, the team has gone 19-7. How important is it to you as a senior captain to keep that tradition alive?
Yeah, so I think it's really important because, of course, like you said, since we've been a part of this program, we've been pretty good. We've had amazing senior classes. We've had great leadership, great coaches. And I think that we've been stable over the last few years with the same coaches, same type of guys on both sides of the ball, where we learned from the guys who graduated from years prior. And I think that, for example, me and Jack, we took a lot from the seniors from last year and when we played as sophomores when we were really young. And I think that we're taking a lot from them into our team now and teaching it to the younger guys also. And I think that overall just our tradition of Glen Rock having an amazing tradition of winning and, of course, state championships. I think that continuing with that with our senior year and having a successful winning season and making the playoffs and hopefully having a playoff run and working hard, I think that it's really important for us and the younger kids who are on our team who will be in our shoes not too long from now. So, yeah, keeping up with our tradition is very important to us.
Jake and Jack, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and best of luck against Becton.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, Jen. So again, you did the interview with those guys. What did you come away from the two leaders on the Glen Rock team?
You know what? I had the opportunity to chat with them a little bit before we went live, and I did chat with Coach Kurz a little bit via email during the week as well. You know what? I just feel like, they just represent their program. I know this isn't about the game, but they just represent their program so well. And I think that's a credit to not only them, but the tradition there and their coach, and I love when we talk to these kids and they're just students of the game and they're, they know this is an important game for them.
Yeah.
You got, state tournament seedings coming up. They know there's a tradition within there. The two coaches know each other, and have a relationship. And, so it's a big game. And, yeah, so it was, which they know.
Just going back when it was a great question asking about their tradition. I mean, they're a powerhouse. You look back in the 2000s and, just even a couple of years ago and, you would say, okay, from the state, where's Glen Rock, and again, they were one of the teams that really, and I'm going years back, that really took to the old run and shoot, the flinging it around, and they did it better than a lot of teams in this area. I mean, a lot of teams have caught up now because it's kind of like teams, kind of want to mimic what they're doing, but they did this a long time ago. And, it's funny because now it's like, okay, everyone's going to that. Glen Rock's going back to a little more ground game. But I will say this probably 10 more times tonight before this show's over. This is why, though, you have to have a run game. Okay. You cannot go into a game tonight, windy, rainy, and just say, okay, it's not going to work. You have to be able to establish the run today. The one thing I do want to say, and we're going to get into Becton in a second, but, you look and you say, okay, Glen Rock starts off 0-2. Becton starts off 3-0, but Glen Rock wins 2 in a row. Becton has a tough loss at Rutherford. And just like 1 week, you would, in 1 week, you might go and say now all the momentum's with Glen Rock, they got their mojo back. They got their 2 wins. How is Becton going to respond? Again, a week ago like this, you would go and say, hey, Becton has the momentum. But but that's what sports is all about.
I was gonna
Football
say,
is
that's
all
what
about
makes
that.
it more than the X's and O's,
Yeah.
And like you just said, and then you throw in the weather conditions as a possible factor as well, and you just there's all these there's all these things that go into
But-
so again.
But whether we talk about on the
Take
pro
into
level and the
consideration.
college level, I mean, really on the pro level, we talk about it, but it's like just win one game, right? So
Mhm.
Glen Rock starts off 0-2. They win their next game. Now they win their next game. Honestly, like in their minds, those two first games, it's over, it's done. You don't even remember that right now. It's
Mhm.
about we're on a 2-game
Right
win
then,
streak. Hey, we got a big one tonight at Becton. You win that. You have so much momentum now going for a playoff run. There's Keith saying, got to be able to play loose. Good point. What's going on, Keith
Hey,
Brugman
Keith,
from
thanks for watching.
Montana. His Lyndhurst team.
We are making him a New Jersey
Oh,
high
yeah.
school sports fan.
Yeah, he's going to start coming on our show and like talking New Jersey football.
I think we said we want to get a Montana team on.
We
right?
do.
Absolutely.
We would love to
Yeah,
have a
so
Montana team.
We got to touch base with him about that.
So again, real quick, I just want to give a couple more players. Again, I don't want to say
Glen
the
Rock?
quarterback's name. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I know it's Nick at May. Again, he's a dual threat. Run it, throw it. You heard what Jack said before. Both of them run it. Those are your two running. Those will be your two running threats tonight, right? He's going to run it from the quarterback spot, and obviously they're going to give the ball to Hattersley. Their big receiver, though, number 15, John Iachetti, he is their go-to guy. When you need to make a play in the passing game, he has been their main guy this year. Defensively, obviously, they're led by Jack Hattersley, Adrian Galvez, 3 sacks last week, and Jake Rickett. Again, they're a tough, smart defense. They've always been that. They're going to be physical. They're going to have to be physical tonight, Jen, because you know what Becton's going to try to do tonight. So big, tough tonight for this Glen Rock defense, but they'll be up to the task.
All right, well, let's talk about Becton. Becton comes in, as you mentioned before, at 3-1. They opened up with 3 consecutive wins against Garfield, Lodi, and Secaucus. Had a tough one last week against against Rutherford. We have an all-in on Becton Sports with our student athlete intern Sean Healy, who's a member of the team, and he caught up with some of his teammates this week, and they talked about bouncing back from that loss. And like you said, it's mindset. It's a factor in today's game. Like who's going to have the momentum? Sometimes you can't wait to get back on the field after a game like that, and that's what you're like going for all week long. Like we gotta get back on track. I'm ready to be back on track. So he did address that with his teammates, and we will hear from 3 more of his teammates in a moment. But what did you want to say about the Becton players?
Yeah, listen, again, started off 3-0. We knew it was going to be a tough game last week at Rutherford. Rutherford's one of the better teams in the NJIC. Didn't go the way Becton wanted to go, but just like we talked to, you're going to hear what these players say. I mean, it's how you respond, right? That's what the adversity was. They got beat. Hey, it's one game. You still have a lot of season left. How are you going to respond? You can't have a hangover from Friday night and say, I got to worry about the Rutherford game. That game's over. You can't worry about Rutherford anymore. Your focus has to be on Glen Rock. They're coming off 2 wins. This is going to be, they're expecting to win. You're expecting to win. This is big for playoff implications. But I think these kids, obviously we know Coach Marr and that staff has these kids in the right mind. Frame of mind that, that's behind them, and you have a lot going ahead of them.
Let me just get these comments in here really quickly. We got Kenny checking in from work. Hi, Kenny, giving his updated prediction given the weather conditions. He's predicting Becton by a score of 15-8. And Keith Brugman wants to know who is the home team.
It is at Becton, Keith, and unfortunately, we were supposed to be there live, but due to the weather, we couldn't be there with just the rain and the equipment and stuff like that. So again, this is still important. We want to make sure we have this game day, so we're doing it from the house. But we made a promise to Becton that if they're home again this year, we will be there.
Yeah. So like I said, I had a chance to catch up with some Becton players as well. Junior quarterback Jonathan Palsy, senior lineman Chris Zawatsky, and senior wide receiver D-back Steele Grabowski. We are joined by Becton football players, junior quarterback Jonathan Palsy, senior lineman Chris Zawatsky, and senior wide receiver defensive back Steele Grabowski. Hi guys, thanks so much for joining me.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Hello.
Hey,
Thank you for having us.
Christopher, I'm going to start with you. You guys had a tough loss last week against Rutherford. How eager are you guys to put that loss behind you and get back on track with this game against Glen Rock?
I mean, we can't wait. Every week is a new game, new opportunity to play well. It all starts with practice, having a great week of practice and just learning from the mistakes and fixing that in practice. But then the big thing is coming out on Friday and executing that and just getting better with each week, no matter if we win or lose. So I think that's just the biggest point. It was we learned a lot from the game, so we just have to take what we learned and move ahead.
All right, and Jonathan, I'll go to you next. As the quarterback and the leader of the offense, what do you guys need to do to move the ball against the Glen Rock defense?
Well, it all starts up front. Recognizing the coverages, how many down linemen there are. That O lineman, it's a whole nother world up there, you know what I mean? And I feel like Chris does a great job leading them. And, you just got to complete the throws that are there, take what they give you, and, that's about it.
All right, sounds good. And Steele, my next question is for you. Glen Rock always has talented athletes. As a wide receiver and a defensive back, how important is for you guys to make big plays on both sides of the ball?
It comes down to watching film and knowing exactly what they're going to run, what kind of plays they're going to run, who their main targets are, what they like to do. As much as as a defensive back, when you watch film on the offense, you know who their main targets are, what kind of plays they like to run. And as a wide receiver, you know what coverage they like to run and what kind of routes, what they're going to mainly throw, what we're going to throw against it, and what's going to work the best.
Great. Guys, thanks so much again for joining me, and best of luck to you against Glen Rock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, I always ask you, Jen, you did the interview with these guys. What did you take away from these three leaders from Becton?
You know what? Again, I just love the attention to detail that these kids have. You think about high school football and how they devote their time to studying their opponent and studying film and being prepared for the games. It's so impressive. I always use the term, they're such students of the game. You know what, though? Like Steele's last comments are making me think, and we talk about this a lot on the show, it could come down to one play, a matchup, whether it's a pass, who's able to break it up, who's able to make the catch. I feel like it's going to be that type of game.
I just thought I'm going to be funny live on air, but when I just look at the screen and you're so much taller than me, you remind me of Phil Jackson when he coached and he had that real high chair.
The high chair.
That's what you look like.
Well, you know what?
Chair.
You changed your chair.
Yeah. I want to get into one more thing, and I don't know if Keith is still watching, but if you're watching, I don't know if you have to rewind this and look at Jonathan Palsey's background, because I'm going to say, I don't know if it's him, a brother, his dad, but that is my favorite guest. Keith, you have to look at this, because in Jonathan Palsey's background on the wall was a framed John Elway jersey. And I saw that right away. And I just said during that interview, I said to him, what is that? Because he just looked, he said, yeah, it's an Elway.
A signed
John Elway jersey. So hands down right now,
best instant connection.
Best guest we've had this year. When you have an Elway jersey hanging on, you go right to the top. But
we got Keith saying from those interviews, like the coach for Becton shines through with those
players,
right?
Absolutely.
With and you know what? I feel like we have the kids we have had on. You see that in them. Glen Rock, Becton, Lyndhurst. I'm trying to think. We did St. Mary's, when we had their players on, and it's so nice to see, Keith, because it is a credit.
We had the Sarah on, but
it is a credit to those coaches for preparing their kids.
Yeah,
and they definitely do. The teams we've covered, without a doubt, yes.
And what you could talk to is that I think they already have that. Hey, just like I said with Coach Martin, that staff, get them through get them through the Rutherford game. It's over. Let's go.
Right.
You could see them relaxing, back to having fun, not dwelling on it. Listen, they have a lot of football left. You have a lot of football starting tonight with a really big game. This team, again, it wasn't a normal Becton season. Coach Marr said it last year, a down season for them. But these kids have responded, coming out 3-0. Big one though tonight. We'll get into keys into the game,
All
but
right.
obviously,
Let's get right into
you
that.
want to get right into
Yeah,
keys?
let's go into those keys. Let's start with Glen Rock's keys to the game.
Yeah, again, this is crazy. I'm saying this for Glen Rock, but establish your run game. You would always say, here they come slinging it. They're not. This team wants to run the ball behind Hattersley. Again, you got the leader, Jake Rickett. We had both of those guys on. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm laughing at Keith. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Keith Brightman's comment. He's agreeing with you that the kid goes right to the top with the sign.
Absolutely, right to the top, right to the top. But listen, they're gonna try to run the ball, and they have to run the ball. You cannot expect, again, a younger quarterback in his 5th game in a rain or a monsoon that's going to happen to be slinging it around. You have to establish your run game tonight. Number 2. Keep the Becton defense honest. Just like I'm saying, though, you got to run the ball. You can't allow Becton to have, 9 and 10 guys in the box. You are going to have to take some shots. You have the wide out, Iacchetti there. Hey, if you get a one-on-one, you got to be able to throw it up. He's got to be able to make that play. And again, you just got to be able to loosen this defense because, again, they are going to be Becton. Everyone knows in the stadium, Becton's going to be coming to stop the run. So couple screens here and there, quick screens, maybe some speed sweeps, get the ball out on the perimeter, get the ball out quick just to loosen that defense up. Number 3, defensively, keep Palsy in the pocket. He is at his best when he is rolling out and he's got that decision. He's just a great quarterback on the roll, being able to throw on the run. But now he's a good runner, right? So you get him on the perimeter. Now he has that option to throw it. I can keep and run, keep him in the pocket, make him a pocket passer. Because if he gets out in the open, it's just going to be a problem. It's slippery. You're going to have your linebackers and defensive backs, sliding around there. Now you're trying to tackle this kid. Keep him in the pocket tonight. Do not let him get outside.
We got Dr. John checking in. You want to read his comment?
You guys do a good job with these shows. Definitely put a lot of effort into this. It shows. Thank you, Dr. John.
Thank you, Dr. John. That means a lot. Thank you.
We might have to switch our pick if we didn't pick Irvington. We might have to pick Irvington for Dr. John. No, I'm joking.
A good friend of the show, Dr. John.
He's the best.
And
he's the best. Gives us a lot of information.
Right, and very dedicated, not just to Irvington sports,
to
just New Jersey sport. Listen, I'm not even expanded beyond New Jersey because I'm sure he's done other things, but just the high school sports in general. So,
and he gives us a lot of the knowledge he gets.
He
gives
does.
us the scoop on that.
We do. We feel all right. Let's move on to the Becton keys to the game. What do you got for us? Number
1, just like I said, Glen Rock can't do. Becton has to get Palsy on the run. Again, first off, very physical. I love the Becton offense where it's like watching some old school. We just watched the Florida documentary, right? Hey, get the extra guy, put Palsy in the gun, line them up, boom, right at you with the power run game, right? So that's one facet you got. But secondly, get him on the run here tonight, right? Again, it's going to be not great conditions. Not that he's going to be able to not be able to throw in it, but it's poor conditions tonight. So get him outside, give him the option to run and pass. Now it's a little shorter, okay? Whether it's crossing routes, flood one side, give him that option to run it or throw it. Get him outside. Just get the ball in his hands. Should be my number 1 key because he's the player that's going to do it for Becton tonight. Get him the ball. Number 2, make Glen Rock beat you in the air. All right. Again, younger quarterback on that side. They've been more of a run game tonight. Bad weather. Hey, load up the box. Coach Barbell's going to do it. Load up that box. Stop that run instantly. Now make Glen Rock throw. Get Glen Rock in 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s. Take the run game away from them and make them have to throw it in these conditions. Number 3, the 3-headed monster. We always say it. We talk about run game. There's not many teams that can do it with Palsy. You got Everett Bell. You got Jalen Powell. You got 3 guys. Hey, I'm sorry, my phone's going. I heard something buzzing. These 3 guys are going to be, you got power, you got speed. In a night like tonight, you might see 40 or even more attempts tonight. Again, you can do it in your little power set. You could spread them out and run it. You can just go directly to Palsy in the gun and gain the guy. There's a lot of things that they can do. The 3-headed monster, get that rolling for Becton.
All right. Great breakdown as always, Kurt. Thank you.
Keith has a great question. In a game like this, do you have a feel for the team special team? We actually had a kicker on.
Yeah, we did on and Sean hosted the
Last night.
Yep, on Thursday night we had the Becton kicker. Yeah. So listen,
And Glen Rock's always had kickers too.
but you know what? It's one of those games where, and it was one of the questions that Sean had for the kicker, because he plays a little bit of everything, and that every facet is always important. But when you put in the weather factor, like it becomes even more.
Well,
important.
I was just going to say this, Jen. Tonight might be a night where, listen, teams in college and pros can't do it, but you're asking a snapper, a holder, and a kicker to catch it clean, snap it clean, and kick it clean in bad weather.
Right.
A lot of times tonight, you just go for two when you score. It's, it does change your thinking. It changes the philosophy a lot in this game. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see these teams, maybe one time doesn't work. Okay, we're going for two the rest of the night. You got two good running games. So, why not?
Yeah.
There's Keith saying exactly.
All right. Before we pick because we saved it, we didn't do it on Tuesday night. Before we make our pick for the Glen Rock Becton game, let's just review our picks for the three other big games. Let's start with Lyndhurst Rutherford.
Again, I said last week, Lyndhurst, when I saw them, they're Sis saying Glen Rock tonight. What's going on, Mr.
Hey,
Sis?
Mr. Sis, thank you for watching.
I said that, I thought I thought Park Ridge and Rutherford were in category A, and then everybody else, I'm putting Lyndhurst in category A. They just absolutely impressed me what they did to Waldwick last week. They absolutely could beat Rutherford. I'm going to go with Rutherford. I think it's a close game. Again, I don't know what they're going to show. I mean, I would expect them to do everything, but I don't know. I have a feeling Rutherford at home, Ryan Ward, I think, is the difference. I think he's going to be, the best player, and that's nothing to do because you want to talk about player. Watch Roddy Moreno. Kid's an absolute stud. But I think Ryan Ward just might be the difference. I'm going to take Rutherford in a very close game.
I picked Rutherford on Tuesday as well.
Look at what Keith's saying.
Come
on, Lyndhurst.
It's his adopted team, right? Lyndhurst has a fan in Montana. I love it. Here's what I think. I think Rutherford wins the battle, and then I'm going to hope that there is a rematch of it, and then Lyndhurst wins the war, right?
You're sticking to that?
I am.
Okay.
If there's a rematch, yep,
Okay.
I am. All right. So next one, Ramapo at Northern Highlands.
This one hurts. I mean, what makes me feel a little better about my pick, and I know Matt Aloney's going to be all over me. I hope not many other Ramapo people are listening, former players. I'm just going to take Highlands. I just think Highlands has their number. Ramapo runs such a specialized offense, and I just think the Northern Highland kids have just always been able, I don't want to say stop it, because if you're winning 48-44, you're not stopping it, but they make plays. Northern Highlands knows how to win. Ramapo kids are winners, but then you have another set that's just like that. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I think the weather tonight is going to help Northern Highlands to take away that passing game from Ramapo. I think Highlands might be able to run it a little better. Hope I'm wrong, but I'm going to take Highlands in this.
We talked about this pretty in depth on Tuesday as well. Northern Highlands, the past 3 occasions, having beaten Ramapo in close fashion. Prior to that, Ramapo winning in much more lopsided victories, I'll say. I think it gets back to the Ramapo lopsided victory tonight. I do. I think that I think this year's Ramapo team is kind of back to the form of those previous teams there. So I'm going Ramapo on that one. And our last big one before we get to tonight's pick is DePaul at Bergen Catholic.
Yeah, number 1 versus number 3. I said that I'm this close to taking DePaul. I truly hope they're not listening to me at St. Joe's and Montvale, but I truly believe DePaul is the second best team in the state.
You have been saying
I think they're unbelievable with Nolan James going there now. I mean, this kid is an absolute stud. Mm-hmm. You got Desi outside. You got a quarterback who won a state title as a freshman. Yeah. What else is he gonna? Yeah. What else can be? Oh my God, what could be too big for him. Coach Campanelli is an unbelievable coach there. Their defense has given up a lot of points early, surprisingly, but they're back. But Bergen Catholic, just Bergen Catholic. You know, we talk about firepower. You got them, Dominic Campanelli. You got Sanders down there. You got Porter, who's just an absolute stud. You got stars. You want to watch a game with stars? Watch this game tomorrow. It's streaming on NJ.com. It's just unbelievable. I think the difference might be at home, a little more physical. I'm just going to go Bergen Catholic. I will not be shocked at all if DePaul wins, but they're the best. These are the best two teams in the state. And like I said on Wednesday, this will be the closest game that anybody in New Jersey gives Bergen Catholic. But I'm taking Bergen.
I'm going Bergen as well. And, you know, I love when we had Coach Campanelli and his quarterback, and we had Nolan James on with him, that we asked him about playing in a big game like this. And I loved his response. He said he's a transfer from Bosco. So he's got, 2 seasons of big football in this conference under his belt as well. He goes, I played in big games, and this is not that he was taking it lightly. He didn't, it just said, it's another game. And I think that's the mentality you have to not, almost psych yourself out in a big game. It was just such a mature way of looking at it. And he was, mentally prepared for the big stage. And it was very impressive. But I've been saying all season long that I think the loss that Bergen Catholic suffered early in the year is going to be what drives them in New Jersey football the rest of the way. And until I'm proven wrong, I'm sticking to it. So I'm picking Bergen Catholic.
Dr. John, I will say this. When you're the home team and the Northern Highland parents come to your town, they are memorable. Not going to lie, one of my favorite fan bases.
Oh, nice.
And just a shout out, 2 great coaches, Coach Fazio there and Coach Cord, a friend I used to work with him. He's done an unbelievable job at Northern Highlands. So just I can't wait to watch that game tonight.
All right, let's get down to it. We are here ahead of the Glen Rock at Becton football game. Let's make our final pick for tonight. I'll let you end. I'm going to go first on this one. I am giving the edge to Becton in this game. I think it is going to be a close one. I think they've played,
We never showed Coach Marr.
Oh my gosh!
So before we do that, let's bring in Coach Marr.
You remembered. I'm so sorry.
I'm all over that. Let's bring in Coach Marr because he was generous to sit with us. So let's have that for a second.
Thank God you remembered. Thank goodness.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Coach Marr, see what she thinks. What she thinks of you, Coach Marr. You're welcome. I would like a nice medium-sized Becton sweatshirt for that one.
So unlike me, Coach Marr.
All right, here we go.
And we're joined by Coach Marr from the Becton football program. Hi, Coach. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me again.
Coach, Friday night is senior night for your seniors. Can you take a moment to recognize your seniors and what they've meant to the Becton football program?
Yeah, absolutely. Senior night's always a big tradition for us. The cheerleaders are involved too, so everybody gets their name called. They walk out with their parents, and it's just really nice recognition for all the years of hard work that everybody has put into the program. And, they really act as leaders. And as you've seen prior, a little before, that 2 of our senior captains are very integral in what we're doing with that leadership role as seniors.
Nice. And can you talk a little bit about the Glen Rock strengths?
Well, number one is they are very well coached. Coach Kurz is a friend of mine. We talk a lot during the off season. Even this week, we actually talked. We went back and forth a little bit, but they're very well coached. It's always been like that. They have and then also up front, their offensive line, defensive line, they're very aggressive. They have a lot of different techniques, different schemes that we have to prepare for. We have to definitely take a lot of time this week to get that, to take a look at that.
And what are your keys to the game, both offensively and defensively?
Offensively, I think it starts up front, as Jonathan had said before. I don't know how intertwined they are. There's 2 questions, but it starts up front. They have to recognize what's going on. They have to handle the twists and the blitzes and the different coverages. And defensively, it's just we have to get to the ball. We have to play our tough nose football, tough nose defense, stay on our reads, fill our gaps, and fly to the ball and just be the tough kids that I know that they are.
Great, Coach. Good luck on Friday night, and thanks again for your time.
All right, no problem. Thanks. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to you guys being live on site.
As are we.
Yes.
And there is Coach Marr. And again, we just, we feel horrible that we couldn't be there live. But again, Coach Marr, I know Jen talked to you. If you're home the rest of this year, we will make it happen because
100%.
we definitely want to be at Riggins Field.
Again, we do these shows, right? We meet the coaches, the players, and it's just, maybe it's the former coach in us, but we just know the hard work they put into it. And, it's hard to pick teams sometimes because, you don't want to see anybody lose because you know how hard everybody is working. But again, a credit to both of these programs. It was a pleasure to catch up with, to communicate with the coaches, the players, and no matter what happens tonight, we wish them all success. As their season continues.
Picks.
So let's go with our pick. I am picking Becton in a closely contested game.
Just a quick update: Northern Highlands 7, Ramapo 0. So you're going Becton?
I am.
Yeah. Listen, you got star power again out here tonight. Northern Highlands with a great running back. Again, we had I can't say his name wrong. Hattersley, Jack, and Highlands. I'm sorry, Highlands. Glen Rock is definitely going to run the ball. Glen
You
Rock.
gotta stop checking Twitter.
I want to get I want to get scores and give people scores. Whoever's watching, I want to get scores.
But let's.
I'm going Becton. I'm going Becton at home, senior night. What's their fans called?
The Becton Jungle.
The Becton Jungle. Sean, make sure you get them on next week. We're going to point you to them. But I think the best player on the field tonight is going to be Jonathan Palsy. And no, not because he had a Broncos an Elway jersey. I just think, I really do. I think he's going to get a lot of carries. The ball's going to be in his hands. And I'm going to go like Tebow style. I'll just direct snaps to him. And I think the offensive line just a little more mature, a little more, leadership on this, not leadership, experience on the Becton team. I'm going to say low scoring, like Kenny said. I think Palsy ends up being the best player on the team, a best player in the field tonight. I think he makes one or two more plays. I'm going to take Becton. I'll give you a score. I'm going to give you a wild score because of the conditions. I'm going to say 22-13. I'm going to go Becton. Gets it done and goes to 4-1 for the season.
All right, there you have it. Keith Brugman with our final comment. Sounds like I got to go Becton with the run game.
There you go.
All right.
It's all about the run game tonight and the weather.
Good luck to both teams tonight. Thank you for watching.
And we'll be back tonight for a Friday night recap show. Have a good night.